Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Andrew Warren, and in today's video, we're going to be doing our daily transparency update as usual, and then on top of that as well, you already know we have to talk about Tesla stock because it once again hit another all-time high today, not only an all-time high close, but an all-time high share price in general, and I know a lot of y'all are probably excited right now, including myself, because if we take a look at the gains for today, it's getting up there, and of course, if you're a new viewer here, transparency update is basically just me talking about the portfolio's gains or losses for every single stock market day. Sometimes we have some really good days like today where it's at like plus over 20k. However, on the other hand, there have been some days where I've done a portfolio update where we've lost near 25k, near 30k. So it's not always as good of a day as today, but I try to keep it real and just share my progress with you all. And it's also just nice to look back on these portfolio updates in the long term, because if we take a look at my progress over this past year and when I first started doing these portfolio updates, it's just crazy to think that only a few months ago I was under 100k. I was at like 80k doing these portfolio updates. So it's really exciting to see this progress happening with a portfolio. But as always, of course, please make sure to smash that like button if you enjoy the Tesla videos and the transparency. But getting right into this video, as I stated, we had an all-time high close for Tesla stock. If you take a look at it, this was actually a much higher all-time high close than the previous all-time close, a little over $40 compared to the previous one. As you can see today at $641.76, and compared to the previous one, that was $599.04, and then the previous one before that was $593.38. And then taking a look at the all-time high share price, as you can see, $648.79 today, and the previous one before that was $607.80. So we have a really big difference between today's high and the previous record high for Tesla stock, and comparing the ones before that, there's actually not much of a significant difference. Comparing $607.80 to $599.04, $598.97, $597.85. So not only did we beat the all-time high share price and the all-time high market close price, but we beat it by a significant amount in both categories compared to the previous beats, which are pretty similar to each other in terms of the share values. Taking a look at the current portfolio value, we are at $261,930.53, and in the normal market hours today, we had a plus 7.90% gain. That was plus $18,960.63. In the after hours today, we had another plus 1.18% gain, which is plus $3,049.22. And I have noticed since it stopped showing the movement for after 6 p.m., it seems like we've seen a little bit more of an uptick in the share price in after hours since then. Taking a look at just the first 2 hours of the after hours, it really didn't go anywhere super significant, but we are starting to see a little bit of an uptick, and Robinhood doesn't really show anything after the 6 p.m. marker other than these numbers changing for after hours. So it seems like we've seen a little bit more of a rise in the share price in the after hours past 6 p.m. so far, or at least that's what I'm getting from the after hours movement compared to what we can actually see in these last couple of hours on the chart. Just addressing this movement for today in general, we have gotten some news about Elon Musk moving his private foundation to Texas. However, I haven't been able to really check out a lot of the news pieces for today, but in general, if we take a look at the Robinhood page for Tesla, it doesn't seem like there's any major linked articles for this movement today. It could just be one of those organic movements that we see in Robinhood regardless of having a news piece, and this is something that we commonly see for Tesla stock. Sometimes when we have these crazy surge days, it's often when you least expect it, and of course there are many times as well where that movement is based off of a news piece, but there are also those often times where the movement is simply organic and it kind of happens out of nowhere, and that honestly kind of goes along with the stock market ethos. One thing that I think most of us can agree on in the stock market is that it's pretty unpredictable. Yes, I can say that I believe Tesla stock will grow tremendously in the long term, but in general, especially when we're talking about the day-to-day movements or like what's going to happen tomorrow, it's pretty hard to predict, and we can take a look at the after hours, and I could say that I think it's going to be green tomorrow, but that doesn't mean that's what's going to happen, and that's simply because there's been many times where we've actually had some pretty big movements in the after hours, and it still ends up being red for the next day. Honestly, I think tomorrow will be a green day for Tesla stock if I were to give a short-term prediction. Please don't take that super serious though. That's just me throwing that out there just for those that are wanting to hear a response if I was forced to give an answer. But in general, all of these short-term things really don't matter to me in terms of Tesla stock. I just do these portfolio updates to interact with you all and also just keep a record with this portfolio to look back on. But as I stated with this surge today, it's just one of those things that's kind of similar with the market where you never really know when you're going to have one of these big news pieces released or just a huge movement or surge in general, and that just kind of goes along with Tesla stock as well, where sometimes we will have these big surges upwards when it might not be the most predictable event. However, I have been stating over this past couple of weeks that the 30 days leading up to this December 21st S&P 500 inclusion date, I stated that I thought it would be one of the craziest months for Tesla stock ever, and so far that seems to be happening. And I've been calling the $600 share price in the short term. That was more of a short-term call. It wasn't like my December 21st price prediction. I honestly think that we can hit $700 per share between now and then. And internally, I can't lie, I'm a bit more bullish than that. I'm thinking like $800 wouldn't be too difficult at this point in time if we're talking about the movement between now and December 21st. I honestly don't think $800 would be out of the realm of possibility, and I even think those expectations could be beaten. Now keep in mind, I think there could be a pretty decent sell-off either after S&P 500 inclusion or maybe even a little bit before, as we have some of these traders trying to sell their shares to some of the index fund trackers and the S&P 500 in general. But like I said, I've been stating that $600 per share wasn't too far off. I think the first time that I put like $600 per share question mark in one of my thumbnails, like right after that, it seems it broke over that number and then it went back under again. I put it back in the thumbnail because I thought it would happen again in the short term, and it once again broke that number. And even recently I've been talking about $600 per share hitting soon, and it has happened once again. So at least with the short-term predictions with this $600 per share number, that was actually pretty accurate. But like I said, I think we could even get in that $700 to $800 per share, and that doesn't seem like it would be pretty too far out of reality to occur for me, at least in my opinion. But today does seem to be one of those days where I think we might have some more institutional investors piling on, especially with it being such a notable movement upwards. I'd say it's pretty likely that we do have some institutional investors buying in addition to retail investors, and then we have short-term traders starting to pick up more shares before this possible sell-off. And that's something to address as well. With every big Tesla event, there commonly seems to be a lot of short-term traders that are trying to make some quick money. And as I've stated in previous videos, I really think the people that are going to win in terms of actual gains are the long-term investors. So the people that think they're getting quick money right now, even if they make some nice gains in the meantime, I think the real winners out of all of this are going to be the long-term investors, and even S&P 500, who has to buy at pretty much any price that it's available at that point in time. But even with that in consideration, even if they buy at a pretty high share price, I mean, if we look back in history, I've bought at all-time highs multiple times. I bought it near all-time highs near Battery Day. I bought Tesla stock when it first hit $950. That was before it dipped, went back up to $950, and then dipped again with the whole stock market crash. And that just goes along with my investing strategy of dollar cost averaging. Basically, whenever I have money, I simply just make the purchase. Some of those times it's at all-time high share prices, and then on other occasions it's at pretty low prices as well. But like I said, there's been many times in the past where I've bought near all-time high or at all-time high, and I've still made a lot of gains on that. And I think that's going to occur even with the S&P 500 as well, because I just don't see how this company stops growing anytime soon. And not only is this just your typical normal growth in the stock market, but this is hyper growth. We are talking about S-curve adoption rates. We're talking about disruptive innovation. This is the type of stuff that drives growth almost exponentially. But like I said, I would not be surprised if we actually see another couple $100 added on to the share price between now and S&P 500 inclusion. Now keep in mind, nothing that I say in this video is to be considered financial advice, but I think the more that this stock grows over time between now and S&P 500 inclusion, it just seems like the more retail investors are going to want to pile on to this, in addition to the institutional investors that are almost going to have to make a mandatory purchase if they want to track the S&P 500. And then we have the S&P 500 actually making a mandatory purchase. So we have a lot of things in combination here that could lead to some pretty nice growth. Now there's always that possibility of us losing every single bit of this progress if there's a sell-off afterwards, and I think there will be possibly some sort of sell-off. It's just a matter of how much that sell-off is. But I do think it's likely that we could see some more growth out of this stock between now and S&P 500 inclusion. As we start getting closer and closer to this date, there's going to be a lot of index fund trackers that are going to have to make a decision on whether they actually purchase Tesla stock. And with that, there is the possibility of more growth with the share price. Now keep in mind, nothing that I say in this video is to be considered financial advice. This is simply me just sharing my thoughts and perspectives about Tesla stock in the market. And keep in mind, we're just kind of spitballing here with a discussion about the short-term movement. So like I said, the short-term really isn't as relevant to that long-term vision. The long-term is a lot more predictable when it comes to Tesla stock, at least in my opinion, than the short-term movements. But just taking a look at the different time frames for the portfolio, for the past week, we are currently up 9.44%. That is plus $22,589.74. For the past month, we are currently up 46.16%. That is plus $82,700.42. For the past 3 months, we are currently up 82.21%. That is plus $118,147.70. For the past year, we are up 154.90%. That is plus $159,130.57. And then for the all-time chart, we are up 155.10%. That is plus $159,212.59. And then just checking out Tesla stock specifically, for the day's return, we are up 8.25%. That is plus $21,943.45. And then for the total return, we are up 95.63%, which is plus $140,756.03. Anyways, I just wanted to give a little quick update with a portfolio. So as always, please make sure to smash that like button if you enjoyed the video. And also feel free to check out my referral links to Webull and Robinhood in the description below. Especially with Webull right now, you can get 4 free stocks in total, 2 for just signing up with my referral link. Those can be valued up to $250, and then another 2 for depositing $100 into your Webull account, and those can be valued up to $1,600. And I was actually able to withdraw my $100 deposit right after I got my free stocks. So it's basically just nice passive income with minimal effort, and it also helps support the channel, which I really appreciate. But I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week.